Welcome to today's Catholic Daily Readings from Christus Dominus Bread of Life. A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Romans. But now, without the law, the justice of God, to which the law and the prophets have testified, has been made manifest. Yet truly, the justice of God is through the faith of Jesus Christ, toward all and over all who believe in him, for there is no distinction. For all have sinned, and all are in need of the glory of God, being justified freely by his grace, through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus, whom God has presented as a propitiation, through faith in his blood, to reveal his justice for the remission of the preceding offenses, and by the forbearance of God, to reveal his justice in this time, so that he himself might be both the just one and the justifier of anyone who is of the faith of Jesus Christ. So then, where is your self-exaltation? It is excluded. Through what law? That of works? No, but rather through the law of faith. For we judge a man to be justified by faith without the works of the law. Is he the God of the Jews only, and not also of the Gentiles? Of course, he is also of the Gentiles. For it is one God who justifies circumcision by faith and uncircumcision through faith.
I cry to you, O Lord. Hear my voice from the darkness below. Let your ears be open to my plea. My heart waits for your mercy to flow. By grace alone we are made right through the blood of the Son. All have fallen, but love has risen. In him the darkness dies undone. Mountains bow, oceans still, the lost return, the weary kneel. In the Lord there is mercy and fullness of redemption. steps I cry to you, and mercy answered me.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Woe to you, who build the sepulchres of the prophets, while it was your fathers who killed them. Therefore you are witnesses, and you consent to the deeds of your fathers, for they killed them, and you build their sepulchres. For this reason also, the wisdom of God has said, I will send to them prophets and apostles, and some of these they will kill or persecute, so that the blood of all the prophets, which has been shed since the foundation of the world, may be charged against this generation, from the blood of Abel, even to the blood of Zechariah, who perished between the altar and the sanctuary. So I say to you, it will be required of this generation. Woe to you, experts in the law, for you have taken away the key of knowledge. You yourselves did not enter, and you also prohibited those who were entering. And when he had said these things to them, the Pharisees and the experts in the law began to oppose him fiercely, and to harass him about many things, lying in wait for him, and seeking to catch him in something he might say. Join us for today's reflection. The irony is perfect. These scholars spend their careers honoring martyrs while preparing to create more martyrs. They maintain elaborate tombs for prophets their fathers killed, and as they polish those monuments, they're sharpening knives for Jesus. You probably do the same thing. You honor St. Francis's radical poverty while dismissing anyone who challenges your comfortable lifestyle. You celebrate the early church's generosity while ignoring people calling you to actually share what you have. You quote prophets who confronted injustice while getting defensive when someone confronts yours. Dead prophets are safe. Living ones threaten your comfort. Paul's letter to Romans explains why religious people hate this message. He announces that righteousness comes through faith apart from the law. If you've built your spiritual identity on being more observant than others, more knowledgeable, more committed to the rules, Paul just made you obsolete. All have sinned. All fall short. All are justified by grace as gift, not by your superior religious performance. This is why religious people fight each other so viciously. Everyone has made Christianity about their system, their interpretation, their way of being right. When someone announces that righteousness comes through simple faith in Christ, everyone who's built elaborate religious structures feels threatened. The scholars had taken away the key of knowledge. They made following God so complicated that regular people gave up trying. You need their books, their courses, their expertise to get it right. Sound familiar? Modern Christianity has turned simple faith into doctorate-level theology, multi-step programs, and insider language that excludes ordinary people. Think about your church. How many unspoken rules determine who's really accepted? What theological positions must people hold? What standards of dress, speech, or behavior? What level of biblical knowledge? What ministry involvement? You've probably turned access to God into something requiring your approval, even if you'd never admit it. Paul cuts through all that. Faith. Not faith plus your preferred theology. Not faith plus matching your standards. Not faith plus mastering your interpretation. Just faith in Jesus Christ. But that simplicity threatens everyone who's built religious authority on complexity. The psalm speaks from depths most religious people never experience. Out of the depths I cry to you. When was the last time you felt desperate for God? Most likely when life fell apart, when you had real problems, when your religious performance couldn't save you. But once the crisis passed, you probably went back to expert mode, dispensing spiritual advice from your position of having it figured out. The scholars Jesus confronted had lost both the depths and the forgiveness. They didn't see themselves as desperate sinners. They were qualified professionals. You probably relate. When you're helping others, leading ministries, teaching Bible studies, serving on committees, it's easy to forget you're just a beggar telling other beggars where to find bread. Here's what makes this personally devastating. You probably honor past movements while rejecting present ones that challenge you the same way. You celebrate missionaries who left everything while criticizing anyone suggesting you live more simply. You praise martyrs who stood against their culture while getting defensive when someone challenges yours. You quote reformers who confronted corruption while dismissing people who confront it now. The pattern is always the same. Build tombs for dead prophets who can't challenge you anymore. Reject living prophets who expose your comfortable religion. Then your children will build tombs for today's prophets while rejecting tomorrow's voices. The tragedy: you genuinely believe you're defending God. The scholars thought they were protecting divine truth from a dangerous heretic. You think you're defending authentic Christianity from dangerous ideas, whatever those might be. Religious opposition to prophets always believes it's serving God. Paul knew this. He'd persecuted Christians thinking he served God. Then Christ confronted him, and he spent the rest of his life proclaiming the simple gospel that made his former religious credentials worthless. His colleagues became his enemies because his message threatened their system. Where does this leave you? Examine what dead prophets you honor while rejecting living voices that challenge you similarly. Notice where you've made following God so complicated it serves your expertise rather than helping people access Him. Recognize when you're defending your system instead of examining whether prophetic critique is true. The scholars decorated tombs while sharpening knives. 3 days after they killed Jesus, He rose and made their entire system obsolete. Access to God opened through simple faith, not through their gatekeeping. The question is whether you'll recognize your own tomb building or keep polishing monuments while plotting against whoever challenges your comfortable religion.